Welcome in to another edition of the JMU Sports News Podcast. I'm Bennett Conlon. I'm joined by Jack Fitzpatrick. The Dukes are back in the win.
Whoa! That sounded so dismissive of my name. I'm a little offended.
No, I was feeling a little congested just there, so I was just really pushing through it.
Oh, okay. My bad. You do it again. My apologies for interrupting you.
Okay.
This is so staying in. Get your drink of
Let me get
water.
some hydration.
Yeah, this is so staying in.
Welcome in to another edition of the JMU Sports News Podcast. I'm Bennett Conlon, joined by Jack Fitzpatrick. The Dukes are back in the win column.
Thank goodness. We would have had a pretty aggressively sad episode if we did not get back in the win column.
It's true.
Can I start with a rant here?
So, yeah, why not?
So, I love being on national television. It's so cool for the brand, for all of that stuff. Man, I also hate being on national television. It's been so hard to find a full version of this game because it was on ESPNU. ESPN Plus, it's beautiful. We can listen back to our guy Delvin Joyce on the call, on demand, whenever we want to. For ESPNU, I didn't realize I had to record the game like this is 2015 where with your TiVo or some DVR type stuff, and I haven't been able to find a full game rewatch.
I'll find it for you guys.
Oh, okay.
You guys give me 5 minutes later, I'll find it.
Okay, my bad. I should have just reached out to you.
That's what you should have done, man. But they won.
Yeah, it was a pretty convincing win too. It was ugly to start, but got pretty convincing there at the end where I was like, oh, this is what this team can do when you don't shuffle your quarterbacks every 3 plays.
Yeah, only Alonzo Barnett, no Sluka. They win 31-13 over Liberty. Alonzo Barnett played pretty well outside of one throw, red zone interception.
Which was a pretty bad throw.
Bad throw. Looking back on the play, though, kind of a strange play where they had crossing routes, and then they had Pfeiffer kind of go run almost like a mini post curl sort of thing in the end zone. He was open for a second, but one of the crossing routes with Michael Scott brought a linebacker into the window throwing to Pfeiffer. So he hesitated for a second and then went to Pfeiffer. And then because of the hesitation, it got picked. People were saying he should have went to Michael Scott. Not true, because there's another corner defensive back who was waiting and looking at it, where if he throws it to Scott, Scott's going to get absolutely demolished and probably doesn't catch it. And then he's got Dipri on another crosser where probably should go there. He's wide open. But everyone was like, oh, I don't think his first read was even Pfeiffer. It seemed like he was staring at Pfeiffer the whole time. So I do think that was his first read, but maybe it wasn't. But anyway, it was like a little hesitation. My big gripe there is throwing a pass when it's it was unclear if it was 3rd and goal or 1st and goal based on the broadcast. But throwing a pass, or it wouldn't have been 3rd and goal, it would have been 3rd and an inch. So I think they should have ran the ball. And then also designing a play where your crossers bring defenders into the quarterback's field of vision to your tight end for a touchdown feels like a stupid design that maybe we just put away for a few weeks.
Yeah, I like that call. Maybe Alonso should have thrown it away, but kind of picking nits on that. Maybe
he definitely shouldn't have thrown it. That's also true.
Which there were times, especially in the first half, it was here are the issues with Alonso showing their face again. In the second half, I think he kind of got rid of it a little bit, but he finishes the game 213 yards, solid stuff, 1 touchdown, does have that pick, 17 of 25 through the air, probably the best game. And if I'm wildly off base here, Bennett, please let me know. But probably his best game since the UNC Ball State games last season.
I would say it was up there with the Coastal game was okay last year. And then there was another game or two that was fine like this. But he had 2 rushing touchdowns too. So yeah, it was certainly his best game in a while.
45 yards on the ground, those 2 touchdowns. So 3 touchdowns total he accounted for, 1 interception. Wayne Knight got a lot of usage, 17 attempts. So did Ayo Adei with 13 attempts. First time Ayo's ever gone over 10 carries. As a JMU player, I believe the Charlotte game, he did not get that many touches. Then he got hurt pretty early on in the Gardner-Webb game, and then did not get that many touches to start the season. Petaway got hurt, 4 carries. That is said to be pretty significant from head coach Bob Chesney. Joby Mallory is also out this week, will likely be. For more than 20 years, SignPro has been proudly serving the Valley, helping local businesses stand out and get noticed. Whether it's vehicle wraps that turn heads on the road, dimensional signs that elevate your storefront, or long-lasting banners with yard signs, we bring quality and experience to every project. With a reputation built on craftsmanship and trust, we're here to make your message impossible to miss. Visit mysignpros.net and let's showcase your business with confidence. That's mysignpros.net. We're already playing with the games, aren't we?
We don't expect him to play.
We're already playing with the injury reports, aren't we? I would be shocked if Joby plays. Maybe next week he's back, but I don't think Joby will be playing this week.
No, he didn't even
dress
for that one. Yeah, I don't think he's as close as maybe they're saying. Petaway being ruled out on the Wednesday is a little concerning. He came up lame on one of his carries where people were like, why didn't he take the outside corner? It was like because he clearly suffered some sort of muscle strain. He was grabbing like his quad, like oblique kind of area. So I don't know what it is. We'll see. But that's a bit of a bummer.
Here's another rant for you. No, it's not really a rant. It might be a rant.
Okay.
The decision-making through these first 3 weeks, and this is where I kind of want to start the podcast. It's been interesting because week 1, you used Sluka for 12 snaps, 6 passing, 6 rushing, and it looked pretty solid. Louisville, you keep talking about this +1 run game, and Sluka's the guy, and he has 21 carries. He's on the field for 30-some-odd snaps, I believe. And then against Liberty, which is like the first game you're playing because FCS, college football playoff hopeful, very weird first 2 weeks of the season where you don't really get a true feel of how JMU is. So I would argue Liberty is like the first real feel that you get for this team. And Sluka's not even out there. Jordan Fuller's not even out there, who was the primary back against Louisville. Very weird decision-making now through the first 3 weeks that we've seen. No Jordan Fuller, hefty dose of Jordan Fuller, no Jordan Fuller. Iowa Dei barely used in Game 1 and Game 2, heavily used in Game 3. Sluka, kind of used, heavily used, not used. Am I just being annoying and being a ranty ranter, or is the decision-making a little weird on your side too?
I thought they got a little bit too caught up in the Louisville game of like, we need big bodies, which I think is like what explains the difference, is they thought that Sluka and Fuller were better at power running. Liberty sucks defensively. Like, they're really so bad. They're soft up front. Like, the runs that JMU was getting in the fourth quarter, well, I mean, guys were like not touched for 5+ yards. It was horrible. They have no depth on their defensive line. Their defensive front seven just like isn't tough compared to most teams in the country. Like, they're just soft defensively. They're not very good. So I think they were like, we can go with Barnett and do whatever we want, because over the course of 60 minutes, he's going to get his in the running game, regardless of who is hurt, is going to be fine. That's kind of how it played out. So I just think it's so different. Like, Louisville's good. Like, might be top 3 team in the ACC. Liberty's like a middle-of-the-road looking,
if not like back of the pack,
Conference USA team. Like, defensively, they're one of the worst, like, 10 defenses, especially against the run in football right now. So I think that's part of it. But I don't know how true it was that they really needed 21 Sluka carries against Louisville. That would be more of my gripe. I thought their game plan against Liberty was fine.
Okay. I was so, like, watching the game. I was watching bits and pieces because I was doing play-by-play for Virginia Union. We were in a 90-minute weather delay, so I was able to catch a good portion of the second half. But it was just like, man, Sluka has not touched the field. What's their decision making through the first couple of weeks? Jordan Fuller didn't see the field. What's the decision making? Like, is he hurt? What's going on? Like, just kind of weird stuff overall that they were so heavily used against Louisville. But maybe the gripe isn't more so about the Liberty game, but it's more so a gripe of like, I think you guys got way too cute, which lost you a Louisville game, which was a winnable Louisville game.
Yeah, I think that's the one that stings a little more. But also, pass protection in this game was perfect.
Pass protection, where has that been?
Against Louisville was horrible. Well, again, it's like Liberty sucks.
Liberty sucks. I get that, but like, it is just the stark difference in their performance at blocking from game 1 to game 2 is objectively hilarious.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty nuts. It's a little bit of like when you watch college baseball and you'll play like Tuesday midweek against VMI, and then you've got Tennessee's Friday night starter or something. Like it felt really drastically different in terms of who the bodies were up front.
PFF game grades. The team had a grade of 30 in pass blocking against Louisville, 52.1 run blocking, which that matches the eye test. They were not getting any push in the trenches against Louisville. Against Liberty, a 67.2 pass blocking grade and a 72.9 run blocking grade. That run blocking grade is the best of the season. The pass blocking grade is just behind their 72.4 grade they got against Weber State.
And good for them because they're a little banged up front. So I'm
a little banged up.
Toner, Brett Davis. Did McNair play in this game? I don't remember him playing in this game, but
let me check participation.
So like they're banged up, especially.
I do not think Cam McNair played in this game.
Banged up, especially on the right side of the offensive line. Toner's going to be out again. Brett Davis is going to be out again. Shout out to the availability reports. So yeah,
more than we get anywhere else.
I know, because it was kind of hot outside too. It was like a mid-80s day, afternoon, sun beating on you, which maybe in September you expect it to be a little bit cooler. It had been previously. They like to rotate, so for them to be like, hey, it's a little bit hotter than usual and we're not going to rotate, and they still dominated up front. I was impressed by the guys who were on the offensive line.
It is funny because, you're not used to seeing Joseph Simmons with over 200 blocking snaps this season, Zach Greenberg over 200, and McMurtry right below 200. Typically, if it was at this point in the season last year, they would not have that many, but McMurtry's had to take a lot of snaps at right tackle because of the injuries. Simmons has had to take a lot at left tackle because of the injuries. Greenberg at center. Sweezy's at 176. Riley Robel's at 157. And no other offensive lineman has more than Trent Wilson, who has 56 snaps.
Shout out to him, man. True freshman coming in at right guard. Looks pretty good.
He looks very good. He's a very good run blocker. He has one of the highest run blocking grades of all of the offensive linemen, ranking only behind James Poglarek. Does not count because he's only taken 8 snaps this season. But
James was beaten up on Weber, though, man. His grades for those 8 snaps hit him some time.
Yeah, he did. Toner's been really solid run blocking to start this year. He's had 49 snaps. Pass blocking maybe needs a little bit of an increase, but his run blocking has been the best of any offensive lineman. But Trent Wilson's right there. He's the 4th best offensive lineman in terms of run blocking.
Pretty good group.
Pretty good
group. They got to get some guys back, but they're hanging in there. And they got, the schedule looks pretty good the next couple weeks in terms of like bad run defense.
Any other major takeaways that you had from this game? I know we're a little late in that. We're like, apologies as well. Like, this is a Thursday recording. Typically, we like to knock it out like Tuesday or Wednesday. And we also like to we announced it, we're doing 2 podcasts throughout the season, a reaction pod and a preview pod. Fun fact this week, it's only 1 podcast because we're so late in the game. Life sometimes happens where we get a little behind the 8 ball and can't keep up with it all. So only 1 podcast this week. We're a little late on the reactions. Do you have any other kind of massive takeaways that you feel like you need to get off your chest for this Liberty game?
I still have some delayed reactions. I have 2. Okay, my first one is that this was like anti-2024 road JMU. So they go down 10-3. First drive right after that is a touchdown to tie it. They go down 13-10 in the third quarter. First drive right after is a touchdown to take the lead. It was just like, we need a response here every time they did. And that felt so good. Because there was like the ULM game and the Georgia Southern game last year where you're like, you need a response. And it's like a 3 and out and they're getting sacked and it's horrible. And it's like, oh God, this one's
only
over.
One 3 and out in this game, I believe.
They were pretty good. They had a chance. They definitely had a chance in the third quarter, I think it was, where it was like, oh, this drive could ice it. And they went 3 and out, which was a little annoying. But then they bounced back from that. It was a pretty good second half. I thought they played well. My other major takeaway was the Liberty fans were like, man, it's a shame that Ethan Vasco got hurt. It is absolutely a shame that Ethan Vasco got hurt. Liberty's game plan was also like, we're just going to let him run like a battering ram and lower his shoulder on all these quarterback scrambles. Their game plan to try to have any success against JMU's really good defense was putting their quarterback at a higher injury risk. So I don't think it should be like a crazy shock that he got a little banged up. He was banged up the week before against Bowling Green, and they're like, you know, it would be good if we just ran him as hard as we could into JMU's gigantic front seven. Like, I thought that was a risky game plan. It seems like he's making a decent recovery for the ODU game. But, like, it was not a huge shock that he got slightly banged up. So I thought that was a little silly when Liberty fans were like, what are the chances? It was like, the guy's not sliding at all. Like, the chances are high.
It was also, my favorite part was like, oh, we would have looked a lot better. We would have competed in that game if Ethan Vasco didn't get hurt. And it's like, I don't know about all that. Like, most of the yards you guys had was because of Vasco's legs, which probably would have been accounted for as the game went on a little bit more than they were. He only had 37 yards of passing. They could not move the ball through the air to save their life. 75 total yards between the three quarterbacks who played. 7 total scrambles for them. Just was not an overall good QB performance, where their leading rusher in this game was Evan Dickens, and closely behind was Ethan Vasco, who was on pace, if he did not get hurt, to have been their leading rusher. Their
like 22 plus carries if he would have, like, they ran him too much.
10 rushing attempts. That includes his scrambles. 10 total rushes and his sacks, but 10 total rushes for 55 yards for Ethan Vasco. The QBs combined for, let me do the quick math here, 55, 78, 100 yards.
I mean, they're running it kind of like their best offense was quarterback scramble because
it wasn't even design runs. It was like, all right, go out there and try to find something.
But they were like okay with it. I mean, he wasn't like looking through his reads. He saw one guy wasn't open and would take off and run because JMU was over pursuing a little bit. And we always joke about like the Michael Scott job interview where he's like, my biggest weaknesses, like I try too hard and I care too much and I just love work too much. That's what the defense was like. My biggest weakness is like I run too fast and I try too hard to make tackles. It was like you just gotta chill a little bit. They did.
It's
more
like
in the
North
half.
Dakota State game against Trey Lance when it was like just chill a little bit.
Yeah, so they finally chilled a little bit and it was fine. But it was like they were all getting 8 yards past the line of scrimmage and then he would just run forward. It was crazy.
I did love the random Liberty fans too, where they're like, "You guys aren't giving us any credit. It would have been a good game if Vasco didn't get hurt." And it's like, I'm sorry, is this a rivalry game? Last time I checked, this is a rivalry game. I ain't giving you shit, brother. Like, your quarterback got hurt? Boo frickin' who, man? Go into the Blue Ridge Mountains and cry about it. I don't care. Win a game.
It's also a little different because it's Vasco, where it's like, man, he would have gotten you. It's like, ah, yes, noted JMU killer Ethan Vasco. Like, what are we doing here? And he was gritty. He was gritty, and like I hope he gets healthy soon. But it was not a huge shock when it was like, oh, he's banged up again. It was like he was banged up against Bowling Green, and then their plan was like, what if we just had him lower his shoulder into linebackers? And I was like, that seems risky. And then of course he got tackled by like 3 dudes, and he got banged up.
You gotta love it, man. What a time.
It segues into Georgia Southern a little bit because Clay Helton was talking this week about how they use multiple guys taking snaps because one of their focuses is like to make sure JC French isn't getting crushed all the time.
Well, they may want to just move off of JC French because that dude's not a good quarterback.
I feel like he's been okay.
Negative EPA per play this season.
All right, fine.
Well, granted, so is Alonzo Barnett.
He's played better the last couple weeks. They had a really bad start to the year.
They run 37 passing plays per game, and they have negative .08 EPA per play, with a 40.8% success rate, which is 95th in the nation. They aren't great at passing the football.
Yeah, USC, Fresno State, those are tough competition. JMU's tough competition, too. So I think later in the Sun Belt year, they might have a little more success. I will say the receivers are sick. They got Cobb still, really good athlete. Yes. Who's is it Thomas? Cam Thomas, is that his name?
Camden Brown?
Yeah, sorry, Camden Brown.
You just completely...
That's Cam okay, Thomas, took a shot. He's an Auburn transfer. He's got a touchdown in every game this year. He's got 5 receiving touchdowns. Clay Helton's press conference, he was like, yeah, he came here after playing a little bit at Auburn to be a star. All right, well, he is checking the box. He is a Sunbelt star. Like, he's been a monster so far.
Guess how many yards per catch he has? Yards per play he has.
Ooh, 17.
10.41. Only receiver who has more than 5 catches with a number like that over 10.
Really? So a little dink and dunky.
Yeah, 15 catches this season on 56 targets, a 48% success rate.
He went up and mossed like a USC defender. I'm excited to see him against like Elijah Culp, who has been just unbelievable through a couple of games.
I need to get the penalties in check maybe a little bit. But then again, dude's a dog.
He's a dog. He's so fun to watch.
Is he this year's? Why am I already blanking on his name from last year?
Sheeran.
Yes, is he this year's Chris Sheeran, like the guy who like spring transfer portal edition that just like jumps out off the page?
He might be. He's really, really good. It's like changed how I watch football almost, which is a little dramatic, but I feel like JMU corners over the years, when the ball's in the air, I'm like, turn your head, don't grab. And with him, like, I don't have to say anything because he just turns his head right on time and doesn't grab. And I'm like, I love you, man. You're incredible.
It's unlike like Chauncey Logan in the UVA game. Turn your head. What are you doing? You're beat.
Wasn't even.
Thank goodness Anthony Galandria overthrew that.
It wasn't even like turn your head. It was like, I wish you could run faster.
No, he's over there in Memphis.
He's banged up in Memphis, but they're cruising.
Do you think this is going to be a close game? Like, how do you see this game playing out? Because Georgia Southern's defense is like not good.
Right.
Their defense allows a lot of explosive plays, and on an EPA per play basis, they can't stop the run, much like Liberty. They can't stop the pass either. They rank 121st in the nation in EPA allowed per pass at .26. They allowed .24 EPA per rush. I mean, they allow teams to get available yards. It's another metric where, like, if you start on the 30, there are 70 available yards to you. And so throughout the game, that's kind of then tracked to see how many available yards a team can get. Because if you start your drive on the 30, you can't get 100 yards. So you can't expect that. That's a long-winded way to say Georgia Southern allows 58.5% of the available yards to be got, which is 126th in the nation. For comparison's sake, JMU allows opponents to get 46.6% of the available yards.
Is the game in Statesboro?
I hate you.
I don't think so, right? So I don't think it'll be close. They are bad on the road. They're 7-13 on the road under Clay Helton. Like, this happened right with Signetti even. He got burned in Statesboro. And then
everyone gets burned in Statesboro.
Yeah, and they said, come here. He said, come to Harrisonburg. Come to Bridgeforth, please. And they blew him out. They beat him by 28 the next year. Like, this is a tough one for Dean Kennedy and Chesney and AB3 because they got spanked last year by a Georgia Southern team that had a lot of good defenders that aren't there anymore. And now it's in Harrisonburg. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's a 16.5, 17.5 point spread. I can, because I've watched Georgia Southern play this year. Fresno State embarrassed them. USC had over 700 yards of offense. Maine took the opening drive for like a touchdown. Jacksonville State put up 34 in Statesboro. They're not that good. Like, they should not have a chance in this game. JMU should win this game pretty handily because, again, it's not in Statesboro, and Georgia Southern is a little Mickey Mouse Statesboro merchant.
And on that note, do you want to go to the interview we had with Pat Timlin?
Pat Timlin, he was great. He is great. You're going to enjoy him. I called him Pat Tillman at first, which is on me, 100%. I'm so glad he corrected me because that would have been tough. But he gave some great insights into their team. Their offense is scary, to give them some credit. And he does talk about the power of Paulson and how well they play in Statesboro. So he had some great insights. I really enjoyed talking to him.
All right, here's Bennett's interview with Pat Timlin.
Good job.
We'll be back on the other side. Big win, huge play. Don't just remember it, wear the moment. Breaking Team makes shirts that capture the game's biggest highlights right as they happen. Gear up today using the link in the description. College football's back, and it's time to upgrade your game day gear. Right now, claim 15% off at Home Field. The best retro and vintage apparel in the game. Rep JMU in style. Don't wait. Check the link in description to get your 15% off. Every Monday, go to the house with former JMU quarterback Vad Lee and Hall of Famer Delvin Joyce. It's the weekly JMU football podcast with insider insight you won't find anywhere else from two guys who've worn the jersey. Listen now. Subscribe to the JMU Sports News Podcast Network to never miss an episode of To the House every Monday.
We welcome in Pat Timlin, WJCL sports anchor. Excited to have him on. He knows Georgia Southern extremely well. Pat, thanks for taking the time.
Of course, man. I only covered the Sun Belt for about a year and a half now, and I now know why they call it the Fun Belt. So happy to hop on with you guys. A lot of fun here.
It's quite the league. We're excited to talk about this game. I want to start with Georgia Southern's offense. The team's 2-2 on the year. I was watching some highlights from the main game. It looked like they had multiple players taking snaps, multiple players throwing passes. It seems like sort of what you would expect out of Clay Helton's bunch where they have an explosive offense. Who are the guys that JMU fans should know on that Georgia Southern offense?
When you see five guys take snaps at quarterback and throw passes, it makes you scratch your head a little bit. But trust me, it was all planned. J.C. French is the name that you should remember from last year. He was the starting quarterback for the Eagles. He returned this year. He's a top 5 quarterback in the Sun Belt right now. He's got a cannon, and he really knows his offense pretty well. And Clay Helton and offensive coordinator Ryan Applin are pretty confident in his ability to run things. But they have a freshman quarterback that everybody who's an Eagles fan loves and wants to see more of. And you can't help but want to. His name's Weston Bryant, true freshman, a 4-star guy. He was recruited as a tight end by schools like Auburn. But the Eagles were the only ones that gave him an opportunity to play quarterback. He's a freshman. He's not going to use his red shirt. They bring him in special packages. It looks like it takes 5 guys to tackle him every time he has the ball in his hand. He's like 6'3", 250 pounds, and he has a cannon. They'll use him in different wildcat formations, but they also like his ability when he gets in to draw man coverage and throw a deep ball. And we've seen him connect on a couple and just miss one against Maine. Running back, O.J. Arnold, he's pretty good. He was behind Jalen White. But now it's his turn to shine. Him and David Bedinga are kind of the 2 lead backs that they both run hard. They can run fast. They can cut back, and they can do exactly what this offense needs them to do on the outside. Camden Brown is a transfer from Auburn. He currently has 5 touchdown passes. He's 3 away from breaking the single season record for Georgia Southern. I know 8 touchdowns doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to think about where this offense has come from. And they haven't had a guy with his side and catch radius and just ability to burn guys in Statesboro. So I think it's cool to see him flourish. And then Josh Dallas is a guy who hasn't played the past 2 weeks. I would expect him to try to suit up against JMU. He's a captain on this team, plays with a lot of heart. And Clay Helton told us it was going to take a lot to keep him out of the main game, but they kept him out of the main game, as we saw. And I think the idea was, hey, let's be full go for JMU because they're going to need him.
Sure. Yeah. Anytime you talk about a single season receiving touchdown record and you haven't even reached conference play, or you're off to
Isn't that funny?
Start. So that's some good stuff. I'm interested too in the schedule, which was a weird one for Georgia Southern. They've got the West Coast trip, Fresno State, USC. I think they stay out there for that whole California trip. Yeah, that's fascinating to me. And then they come home and obviously get a couple of wins. But what do you make of the 2-2 start, which includes, sort of that unusual extended stay in the California area?
We heard so much about this day in California leading up to it. And when the Eagles came back from it, we didn't hear much. And you could kind of piece together why. They're 0-2 when they come back. They've given up the most yards in program history in a single game, over 700 to USC. They were supposed to spend all this time together and come back united. That's one of the 3 principles for Clay Helton: tough, discipline, united. And instead, you come back without some guys on the team. You come back with these performances that have a lot of people scratching their heads. Fresno State ran the ball, and you're at the dead last in the country in plenty of defensive statistics. We're talking yards allowed per game, yards per play, rushing yards, sacks, dead last in all of SBS football. And that's something that Georgia Southern fans don't like to hear. This is a team that was in a program that was built on defense and playing tough football. And when you go out to California for the first time in program history, and this is kind of how the school was represented, it makes people upset, but the people in the building seem to think that they still came back stronger. And they saw signs in that second half against USC that made them encouraged for the rest of the way. And I think that the fourth quarter against Jacksonville State was probably the most real football that they expected to see out of this team. And of course, the second half against Maine, when you have guys that are smaller than you can lean on them, and that's where you see that big point differential, 28-3 in the second half against Maine. But that California trip, man, it went from California dreaming to California nightmares. And I think now they're finally settling back into the Eagle football team that they want to be. And, it's 6.5 point underdogs on the road at JMU isn't a spot that this team is familiar with, but they certainly believe they're a lot better than 6.5 point underdogs against the Dukes. And I think it's a great opportunity for them to get back on the road, be together, and show, hey, this is who we can be the rest of the year. So they're trying to put California as far deep in the rearview mirror as we can, to the point where we can't even sit anymore. And I'll be interested to see how this road trip goes for the team.
I think there are a lot of JMU fans who also think Georgia Southern's better than what the betting spread might indicate, especially after last year. And I'm curious what
Yeah.
Georgia Southern, the coaching staff, and the players have said maybe about that game, where I think it's the one game last year you can really point to for JMU, and the coaching staff has admitted this. It wasn't a what if loss. They kind of just got embarrassed, won the turnover battle 4-0, and still lost by 14 to Georgia Southern in Statesboro. What is it about that game? And I guess what kind of confidence maybe do the Eagles take from that they just did so well in that game? They seemed like they're played maybe they're one of their best games of the year last year.
Yeah, it never felt close, man. That was
No.
that was a crazy one, and I think even the Eagles kind of know, hey, they got the better of JMU, and they're not going to get it this year, right? This is a JMU team that knows what to expect from this version of the Eagles. The defense is missing guys like Marquez Watson Trent. That was part of that dominant performance, and some guys in the defensive line. They're banged up right now. Chance Gamble was a defensive back who had a key game there against JMU. He's been hurt the past couple of games. I'd expect him to try to give it a go this week. Yeah, man, that win was crazy. I remember doing my live report right after it, because we're on deadline. You remember those moments more than anything, and it was such an easy one to talk about because of how much dominance Georgia Southern showed, and there wasn't much to pick apart. I'd be interested to see 14 for JMU, how he plays against Georgia Southern this year, because like you kind of mentioned, I feel like this is a game he's been thinking about for a while. How do you think he's going to handle it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the Jamie fans and Barnett himself have mentioned that he had some ankle issues, I guess, in that game. So he felt maybe a little less mobile. So this year he might think he can get out of pressure a little more, because it seemed like deer in the headlights a few times when that pass rush was coming at him. So I know that's been an issue before. And you mentioned Georgia Southern sort of low in sacks this year. But what do you like about the defensive front seven? Is there the ability to still get pressure with some of the stats? I guess you play Fresno State and USC, and maybe a little skewed right by playing such good competition early in the year.
Yeah, it's hard to rack up sacks when the opposing defense can just run the ball over you, right?
Sure.
And they're not in passing situations. I mean, when you look at it, Georgia Southern, I wrote some down because it's just hard to believe, right? They're fourth worst in yards per play still. They still give up over 380 yards per game. Um, they're near the bottom of the country and still a lot of defensive stats. Third worst in the country as far as rushing yards. So that front seven, man, at some point you need to take a stand, right? You know the guys that are going to be in there with you and alongside you. MJ Stroud had a really promising game against Maine. You want to discount for the competition, but I mean, they led the team in sacks. He finally got that pressure they were looking for. I'd like to see him get a little bit more run. Jacob Ferguson is a guy who, as we've talked to a couple times now in camp, and he's definitely a leader of that front seven. But it starts and ends with Brendan Harrington and Brandon Tyson, and we didn't see much of Brandon Tyson against Maine. I did see him leave the field early before the first half with a trainer. Curious to see if he'll be full go against JMU. But those are the two guys who are the vocal leaders. They've seen a lot of football, especially in this conference. And you need them to be the one that are yelling at guys, getting them in the right spot, and holding everybody else accountable for Brandon Bailey on the field. And Georgia Southern fans love to think that, Brandon Bailey's not coming up with a game plan. He's not coming up with ways for them to figure this out. But I can guarantee you that's on their mind every single day. And the thing I like about when they come to Paulson, Big Frank is our guy who covers them on the road. You'll have him up there this Saturday, I should say. He'll be there Friday night, though. When I get to see Brandon Bailey in person, he's constantly moving up and down the sideline. He's yelling at everybody. He's trying to get these guys in the right spot. It's just a matter of they've played some tough opponents that have taken advantage of the holes. And now is where you enter Sunbelt play. If you leave those holes open, it's going to be a real long season. So I think if they're going to take a stand anytime, it's got to start now.
For sure. There are some JMU fans, I think myself included, who are maybe of the belief that when you go to Statesboro, there's like some sort of dark voodoo magic, man. It is so hard to win in that part of the country. I know JMU fans have seen that firsthand with JMU struggling in those games. What is it about this team that's maybe better at home than on the road?
Yeah, they call it the power of Paulson around these parts. And you feel it, right, with the student section that stretches the entire length of the field. I, Man, with this team, it's hard because the only reference we have is that trip to California. We've seen at times where this team can go on the road to like Coastal, right? Like they did last year and come out with a big win. And other times where they go to ODU, I believe was the game last year, where it just did not go the Eagles' way. I believe that was on a Thursday night. I, I wish they could give me the answer, right, and tell me the special sauce. But it just appears sometimes, man, um, the holes in this defense get a little too big sometimes. The ability for a main team to know exactly what they're going to do to run the ball down your throats and to do it on the opening drive and score in less than 6 plays. Those are the stuff that I think not having a home field advantage lets shine a little bit brighter. So understanding their assignment football and playing to their strengths, not trying to be who they are. I really love when this offense opens it up and lets JC sling it down the field. He's got a beautiful deep ball. It's just a matter of if they can catch it sometimes. So uh, I don't want to say they get timid because that's not doing these guys right. But I think there's just some things on the road where they're not as in control as when they are in Statesboro here at home.
Awesome. And last question, I'll let you go, but I was curious about JC French in particular. I know JMU has rotated quarterbacks occasionally, and it seems like it messes up the rhythm. JC seems pretty good about letting the other guys come in and take a bunch of snaps. I guess what is it about him that lets him lead this offense so efficiently? Because he has been pretty solid and seems to get better every year.
Yeah, man, that was something I asked him about during the spring. How is it like for you to enter this job as the clear number one starting quarterback? And he said he understands what he needs to be for this team. When you're in a competition against two other guys who are just as little experience as you do and a similar skill set, you're in your head a lot about am I doing the right thing? I don't want to throw an interception. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to give somebody else a leg up. And he entered this spring with this idea that, hey, I'm the leader of this team. I'm going to give them everything I got. And I mean, by the end of this year, he'll be graduated. He could transfer. He could do whatever he wants. He could come back for another year. And all those decisions are for him to make. And when you look at last year where he's fighting and it's harder to be that leader, now he's stepping into this role this year where he can share the rock. And when you have 5 guys throw the ball, his backup quarterback is the head coach's son, who's kind of like an extended arm of a coach on the field at times, it feels like, with the way that Turner approaches the game as well. So I think there's this environment in the quarterback room where they all want to see each other succeed. And it's not just him. Weston Bryan's happy to be getting the snaps, and he knows his role. He knows when he can succeed, when it's 3rd and 2, and you can play 11-on-11 football because you got this man child. Frank's been calling him the Lee County Lumberjack. I don't even know where that comes from. I think there's a lot of trees out there. I haven't visited, but when you have all these weapons and you know that you're the guy at the end of the day, regardless, it allows you to play so much more freely. And I think that's where, JMU's got a different problem at their hands. They've got 2 quarterbacks who both think they can be the guy. But JC knows his role. He knows how this offense and how this coaching staff feels about him. And we even asked him Saturday night, man, you see a lot of these guys throwing touchdown passes. How does that make you feel? And he biggest smile on his face. And I think that's where the united part of this team is really showing through. And when you have a leader like that, you can imagine is making pretty hefty licensing dollars compared to everybody else, just happy to share the rock and see his team win. I think it puts you in a better spot to do these different things that Clay Helton and Ryan Applin like to do, like you kind of mentioned earlier, open up the playbook and throw some looks at you that you're not used to. So JC's great. We love talking with him. He's had some with his schedule where he can't be available on Mondays because of classes. We need to fix that. But other than that, everything else with JC is great. Love talking with him.
Yeah, I do not envy JMU defensive coordinator Colin Hitchler. I think it's a tough week, and I'm sure he was among the contingent, especially Sunbelt teams who were maybe hoping Brian would redshirt this year, but does not seem to be the case.
Yeah.
For fans who want to see your work and get the Georgia Southern perspective this week, where can they find you?
Always, man, WJCL.com. We always cover the Monday presser. Saturdays, Big Frank gets on the road. I try to get the ones that are in Paulson. But yeah, all week long, we love talking about the Eagles here on WJCL. And got a big one this Saturday. I know you guys kick off at 1. If folks in Southeast Georgia watch this, I know you guys don't really like watching Georgia every now and then, but I'll be up in Athens this Saturday covering that one. Once the game ends, just keep the channel on. We'll have a couple live reports coming up. WJCL News at 11. Thanks, man.
For more than 20 years, SignPro has been proudly serving the Valley, helping local businesses stand out and get noticed. Whether it's vehicle wraps that turn heads on the road, dimensional signs that elevate your storefront, or long-lasting banners with yard signs, we bring quality and experience to every project. With a reputation built on craftsmanship and trust, we're here to make your message impossible to miss. Visit mysignpros.net and let's showcase your business with confidence. That's mysignpros.net.
They're fraudulent. I think that's the takeaway from the interview with Pat.
What a way to bookend that interview. They're Mickey Mouse. They suck. Here's a guy that covers them in Statesboro. Welcome back. They suck.
No, he explains well sort of what they got going on, which is an interesting offensive attack where they have multiple guys who can take snaps. They have multiple guys who can like throw touchdowns. They have a really exciting 4-star freshman quarterback that SEC schools were looking at as a tight end. And people were like, are you going to redshirt him? And Clay Helton was like, shut up. No, we're trying to win a championship. He's ready to go. So they have like some really good offensive weapons that I think will test JMU for sure. But like Pat kind of mentioned, they rank sort of in the bottom 5 or dead last in a bunch of defensive categories. And that's the problem with them essentially, is that they play a lot better at home and they've got some issues defensively that I think they don't have issues that are like, oh, I think you can fix those in a week. They seem like they have like major red flag defensive issues, unfortunately for them.
I got 2 things to say. One, I got to go back to that available yards spiel I was giving like 15, 20 minutes ago. Oh, yeah. I said JMU allows opponents to get 46.6% of available yards, which is 83rd in the country. I misspoke. They allow opponents to get 28.7% of available yards, which is 17th in the nation. Both good, one significantly better. And you might be sitting back and asking, how can JMU's offense attack this horrible Statesboro defense? And it's everything. Like, JMU's been a very rough start through the air, right? Like, it has been well documented here. To the House podcast, the rhythm has been a question. Alonza with Sluka, are they not getting in rhythm? But this is a great get right opportunity because we know what the potential of Alonza Barnett is through the air. So it's a really good get right opportunity for him. And then even if they can't get right through the air, they can just turn around and hand the ball off to Io Adei, who's coming off of his best performance as a Duke. Wayne Knight has shown that he can be that RB1 this season. Yeah, it stinks that they'll be without Petaway and potentially without Joby Mallory. Who knows what the status of Jordan Fuller is after he didn't play a single snap last time out against Liberty. But if your passing attack isn't working, it's okay to be one-dimensional against this Georgia Southern defense because you're probably going to average 7 yards a pop against the 132nd ranked defense in EPA allowed per rush. Like, Georgia Southern's defense is, specifically their run-stopping defense, is bad.
It's real bad. And yeah, I thought the receivers were nice against Liberty. Jalen Sanchez looked really good. DeGeneiro did some good stuff. The tight ends have been pretty good at blocking and receiving to start the season. So I've been impressed by who they've gotten the ball to. And then Landon Ellis is like legitimately an absolute stud.
I believe it's Jalen Sanchez.
I thought it was Jalen.
It's spelled with an A.
But people keep saying Jalen.
At one point, wasn't it spelled in the roster with an O?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Well.
But, okay, anyway, Sanchez. I've heard people on the interviews with Rigard say Jalen.
Let me pull up the pronunciation guide. Don't mind me. You can
if
keep
it's not
talking
in
about
there, it's going to be beautiful. He's a good player. Landon Ellis he's confused me a few times. I'm like, oh my God, Elijah Surratt is back. Because they're wearing 13. He plays similarly. He's a dog. So I do think they're going to be able to get some stuff in the passing game, which is exciting. And then I think if they go to the ground game, they'll be good there too. I also think, honestly, man, maybe we see Sluka. Because couple banged up running backs, wouldn't be shocked if they brought in Sluka for just a little itsy bit, which I'd be okay with seeing him in the run game a little bit here.
The itsy bitsy spider.
Is it in there?
I don't even see where the pronunciation guide is.
The guy who can't find the rewatch now can't find the pronunciation guide. This is brutal.
I don't think there is one in here.
There's got to be one.
It's typically on the roster page, right?
No. Yeah, on the game notes.
Yeah.
It should be.
No two deeps, no pronunciation guides.
There's no way they don't have a pronunciation.
I just controlled F'd it.
Does it control F in that file though?
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Because it found every time that the word guide came up.
Oh. Okay, well that sucks. Let me check the first one. I'll have to go back, but anyway, we'll call him Sanchez for now. But he's a really good player, and he showed off a little bit. Mikey Scott hasn't been involved over the first week, which is kind of confusing to me. But I'm easily confused, so.
Yeah, we're both sitting here trying to scroll through this.
How do they not have this?
I'm not crazy, am I?
I don't see it. It's supposed to be in here.
I don't see it either. All right. Well,
I've heard it Jaylon, but other people have probably said Jalen. I don't know, man. I'll just DM him.
Yeah, we'll figure this out. We'll figure this out together. Before we go to listener questions, let's take it to listener voicemails from last week.
Yes.
Because come on, guys. We had over 30 of them. It took me hours to go through all of the voicemails we got after the Louisville loss. I understand this fan base runs on hatred. We only got 2 after the Liberty win. Just as much hate, there should be love. That is the way of the world. So next week I expect more listener voicemails. We only got 2, so the 2 we got, we're playing.
Thank God.
And you can hear them right about. How about now?
Go Dukes! Was at the game today. Vibes were freaking amazing. This is actually to start off. This is JMU Back on Twitter. Overall, great game. I know it wasn't perfect on offense, but this team, we fought back after getting down early. Alonzo looked great. He looked confident. His throws were on point. He handled the blitz. This is the best I've seen him handle the blitz since ODU last year. He looked great. I'm really excited going forward for this team. Both sides look awesome. This is a great win to get some momentum going into Sunbelt play. Roll Dukes. Roll Dukes. Bye. Hey, it's JMU fan Jack here calling back because my last call wasn't that great. But overall, great game. We got down early and we fought back. Offense looked unfazed even though we were playing from behind for a point. Alonzo looked great. He didn't seem fazed by the blitz. O-line was already great as well. Overall, great game. Another thing that will get ignored because everyone's going to talk about the offense. Our pass defense was amazing. I think we only gave up 75 yards passing. There was not a single Liberty quarterback who got 50 yards passing today, which is crazy. This pass defense is probably the best I've ever seen from JMU, and I can't wait. This is a great win to get some momentum going in the Sunbelt play. I'm really hyped about this team. Go Dukes. Go Dukes.
Big win, huge play. Don't just remember it, wear the moment. Breaking Tea makes shirts that capture the game's biggest highlights right as they happen. Gear up today using the link in the description. College football's back, and it's time to upgrade your game day gear. Right now, claim 15% off at Home Field. The best retro and vintage apparel in the game. Rep JMU in style. Don't wait. Check the link in description to get your 15% off. Every Monday, go to the house with former JMU quarterback Vad Lee and Hall of Famer Delvin Joyce. It's the weekly JMU football podcast with insider insight you won't find anywhere else from 2 guys who've worn the jersey. Listen now. Subscribe to the JMU Sports News Podcast Network to never miss an episode of To the House every Monday. All right, Bennett. You want to do some listener questions to wrap up today's episode?
Do some listener questions.
Okay, let's do some listener questions. Can I ask you the first one?
Yeah.
Favorite JMU pass rusher in the FBS era / who's your favorite this year? That's from Daniel Merriman.
Great question. Favorite in the FBS era is Jalen Green.
Jalen Green.
Not even close.
Yeah. I don't even know who would come second, honestly.
For me, probably Eric O'Neill. Was a big Eric guy, right. But
I'm sorry. I don't appreciate deserters. How dare the Duke's recruits account highlight his success?
True. That is true. Whoever's running that is a piece of work. Okay. This year? Oh God, this year's hard to pick, man.
Lakota Dipri. For what he brings through the transfer portal as an edge. For the two days we thought he was going to be an edge rusher. Mine's Aiden Gobira. I think it's just a really fun story, and he's looked really good.
That's a good pick. Maybe I'll go.
I'm shocked.
You're shocked
that you haven't said this name just like immediately. I thought for sure this would be your first answer.
I think for me, I'm still excited about Zahir West, so maybe he's my guy.
Yeah, there it is.
But Xavier Holmes has been nice too. So it's hard because they've been so balanced. Where like once you got midway through the Jalen Green season, it was like, oh my God, this guy. So we'll see.
Could I vote Emmanuel Bush just for all of his near sacks?
Oh man, he's got to finish some of these, man.
He did it against. I think it was against Louisville. He did it like twice, and it was just like,
yeah, he loves the little Olay.
Oh, Manny. Come on, man. This one's from Bleed Purple Nation at Dukes SN. What are your thoughts on why this defense is so dominant and what makes them so successful?
They just play hard. No, I think it's because they're like freaky athletes and they got a coordinator who lets them be aggressive, but they're crazy deep on the defensive line. And then the corners are so good. That was the issue at times during the Cignetti era, is he'd have like this crazy defensive line. And then he'd be like, I'm going to dare you to take one-on-ones against my corners. And then it'd be like a 65-yard touchdown. He'd be like, shit. Like, where this year, that's not really happening. Like, if they're taking chances on the secondary's so good that they're in position most of the time. So I think that's part of it, is that they're really good at every level, including the super athletic front seven and defensive line.
Yeah, I like that answer. I also think that specifically this year, like the way they're able to call defenses, it is exotic. There was a lot of talk of weird fronts and things like that. They do a lot of simulated pressures. So like you may see the linebackers come in and fill the A gap. So they fill the void right over the center. And then sometimes they may blitz and then the defensive end may bail. So they're still only blitzing 4, but the offensive line had to account for 5 or 6 rushers. So then you kind of are rushing with a ghost rusher because they bailed, but the offensive line's already made their adjustments. So they're doing a lot of things that I don't think Cignetti's a fantastic coach. He's an amazing coach. What he is doing in Indiana is great. But what his defensive plan was with Brian Haynes was, we are better than you. We will line up with our 4 down defensive linemen, our 3 linebackers, sometimes 2, and our defensive backs. We're not going to show you too many exotic looks, and we are going to be better than you. Where Hitchler's like, not only are we going to be better than you, but we're going to confuse the mess out of you, and you're not going to know who's coming from where and when.
The final sack, like the final defensive play of the Liberty game, when he had like 6 guys on the line, and 3 on the one side all drop back, and then the 3 on the one side all come, and almost, I think none of them were blocked, and then it was just like, who's going to get the sack, and it was DJ Cotton. Disgusting. Like, just, you're up 31-13, and you're like, let me just use my end the game play. And Liberty's offensive line had no chance. You got guys on the right side like, whoa, where'd they go? And then the quarterback's down. That was nice stuff.
Another question here, Will Burns, Byrnes, start, bench, cut, AB3, McLeod, Centeo.
Oh.
Start McLeod, bench Centeo, cut AB3.
Yeah, that's what I would do too.
Copycat.
Some people don't love McLeod. I loved that guy so much.
He was maybe my favorite quarterback of the since DiNucci. He's my favorite quarterback to watch.
Yeah, he was electric. I loved McLeod.
I loved his Twitter.
I loved everything about him, man.
There was, I can't put my finger on it, but there was something about him. What a gamer. This one's from Tony Stajic.
No, he puts the next, there's a reply with the pronunciation. He's like, if you guys ask this.
Stazak. All right, Tony Stazak. Wait, nope.
He's going to appreciate that one for sure.
Nope, that's wrong. You could have warned me ahead of time.
I totally forgot.
Wow.
And as you said it, I was like, oh no. Tony.
All right, Tony Stazak. That's a really good pronunciation guide there that Tony gave us.
Yeah, does he know how to say Sanchez's first name?
You mean, yeah. Now, FBS for a few years, what would you say is JMU's realistic ceiling as a program? Assuming they don't get a Phil Knight level donor, just wait, Tony. When the JMU Sports News podcast takes off and we get some big-time sponsors, just wait. You're going to be seeing a lot of JMU Sports News arm sleeves out there.
Mm-hmm. That's how you become Phil Knight. That was Phil Knight. Famously, his business of Nike is just arm sleeve.
Well, no, I mean, that's how you know that we got them on their NIL deals. That's the NIL deal.
Okay, we forced them to wear an arm sleeve.
Nothing else. No posts. Kawhi Leonard-esque deals, the no-show deals.
I like that.
Is it similar to Boise State, maybe a UCF, where you turn your G5 success into a power conference ad? Harrisonburg ain't Orlando, though.
Ceiling is a roof. You know, they keep building the culture like this. There's no reason they shouldn't be winning national championships. I don't know. It's hard to say with like what realignment could be in the 2030-ish time frame. But I think they could be in one of the 5 best conferences in football and one of the best teams in that 4th or 5th best conference.
If things stay the same, I think they are a college football playoff contender each and every year, and that's their ceiling. Maybe once every 4 years you can win a college football playoff game. That's likely their ceiling if things stay the same. If there is conference realignment, that's potentially coming in 2030 when a lot of the media rights deals are up. Then you could see them maybe vie for a power conference, but in all likelihood, power conferences won't be a thing because there'll probably be some mega super conference with the SEC and Big Ten, and then there'll be kind of the other conferences that go in. I think JMU will be one of the better teams of the non-SEC Big Ten teams.
I like that.
Thank you, Tony Stazak. Sean Conway, he didn't include the pronunciation of his name. Rude. For Georgia Southern, what's the criteria to say that was what we expected, that was an achievement, that was a surprise? Louisville, he gives examples. The Louisville game, the expectation was not get destroyed. Achievement, be competitive. Surprise, win. Liberty, the expectation was win. The achievement was find our offense. The surprise was loss or blowout win. For Georgia Southern, how do you see that stacking up?
Maybe similar to the Liberty one, except I would take out blowout win as a surprise. I didn't think that was a surprise against Liberty either. I would say like losing would be a surprise. Expectation is to win. And then again, I think the achievement is like the offense looking good for consecutive weeks, even against a bad defense.
Specifically the passing offense, like
yes.
finding a rhythm, like maintaining the rhythm, keeping the momentum going. Pablo Hassan asked, what can Kennedy do to help? I love Pablo. He's a certified hater. I mean, his tweets, he is a certified hater. What can Kennedy do to help AB3 get off to a fast start? Dude always starts really slow out of the gates. We cannot have this against good teams. I'm going to push back a little bit because there's been a lot of like revisionist history. One, about making AB3 like this amazing player. We've seen that from certain sects of the fandom. But we've also seen this where it's like, we've never started fast. We are always a second half team. Why can't they start fast? Meanwhile, like rewind to like
all
midway
of last year was
yeah, like rewind to midway last year, and we were like, why can't they be a good second half team? Like,
right.
Kennedy has gotten AB3 off to fast starts. Liberty was just that was one of the rare games where it was a slow start into a fast finish. So I would just push back a little bit, Pablo, and say that he doesn't always start really slow. Typically last season they started fast and then ended slow, so it was kind of a plus to see it be the flip for Liberty.
I would agree.
And then last question from Daniel Merriman. Do you think injury reports are going to be accurate, or are they going to be a joke by week 10? Daniel, I think they're a joke here in week 4, week 5, whatever we're in.
I think they're better than what we've had. Like
he would never.
Yeah, well, he would never have said that Toner and Davis and Petaway were officially out before the game. So that's a bonus. There are penalties if you lie. I'm a little confused, though, because, like, Georgia Southern lists everybody on their team. Like, they list a bunch of scrubs who are, like, doubtful or out. Like, there's no way that JMU only has 6 guys who are slightly banged up. Like, there's other guys who are I'm sure, that are down the roster that he's not including because it's like irrelevant. But I don't know if there's a standard across those teams, because I've seen a bunch of fans that are like, Georgia Southern whole team is hurt. And it's like, well, it's like their fifth string defensive tackle is out. Like they weren't going to play anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're supposed to only list like contributors or if you can just list.
I think you can list
everybody.
everyone.
But is it okay if you do what Chesney does, where he's only listing? That's, to me, makes a lot more sense.
Well, is he, or is everyone else healthy? Like, could the fifth string defensive tackle go? And for Georgia Southern, they can't.
It seems unlikely, but I mean, maybe.
Well, like, it is interesting. Cam McNair not on the injury report.
Right,
Cam McNair has not played, and I assume that's due to injury, considering he was expected to be like the second string tackle. So Cam McNair not on the injury report. So if he doesn't play, I'd expect a question out of why Cam McNair didn't play and wasn't on the injury report. Now, that can be the second question to Chesney, because the first has to be a quarterback question and make him upset.
I think those are the rules, yeah.
Do you think he's actually mad when he gets
joking now?
Okay.
But I think
he needs a better joking tone.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
'Cause
I love that guy though.
Sure.
Chesney's our guy, dude. We're going to war with him every week. And I think he's getting a little more comfortable with like the media spotlight compared to what he was last year.
I think he's still getting annoyed with quarterback questions.
He is, but I feel like he could just put his foot down a little more and be like, I don't know. I want a little. I like the fire from him at times. I feel like last year he got a little passive, and then we get like almost passive aggressive. I'd rather it be more Cignetti direct, like when they're like, Cignetti, like you're 5-0, but you're only winning by 8 points. He's just like, what are you talking about?
Which was a valid question.
It was a great question because they kept choking in the fourth quarter. He's like, we're 5-0, bud.
He would get so angry. Yeah. Oh man. But if Cam McNair doesn't play, or like if Jordan Fuller doesn't play and he's not on the injury report, then it's like, so I can assume he is healthy and he did not play due to not being good enough to play. Like
coach's decision, yeah.
Coach's decision. Don't make me fill in those blanks. But so that's the interesting part of it. And it'll be interesting also to see like how they then like adjudicate them breaking the rules. Like how do you know if Jordan Fuller didn't play because it was a coach's decision or if it was an injury? If like there's a lot that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out when it comes to injury reports.
I also saw some questions about like, can you say a player's out and then play him? No, that would absolutely be breaking the rules and would be subject.
That would be like a clear, blatant way of breaking the rules.
They're like, you cannot do that.
Which is interesting that they were so quick to go out for so many guys on the Wednesday release, because you get another injury report on Saturday.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of there's almost like an honor system here where you see some of the other teams are doing it and they're being a little more honest, and it's like, okay, I can cut it with I'm sure the Sun Belt has made it clear that like we will, if it becomes clear, we will penalize you. Just please be honest about it.
Please. Keith Gill's like, please.
Sabrina Carpenter, he just plays Sabrina Carpenter.
Great song. Her new album's really good.
I haven't gotten through it all, but yeah, she's good, man.
Yeah. There's one song, Eva plays it every time we get in the car. I forget what it's called, though, but it's very catchy. I know like half the words now because of that.
Nice.
Yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah, man.
Anything else you got to add when it comes to football?
No, I think that's it for football.
Petzold of women's golf tied for 12th at the Red Raider Invite. This is a golf podcast, so congratulations there. Field hockey ranked.
Yeah. Beat number 8 Michigan. Now they're 18th, 6-3 in the year.
Good to see a number next to their name again.
That is good. Yeah, they're back, which is nice.
You know what's also really nice to see? A number in the win column for men's soccer.
Are they back?
No, but they got to win.
1-5-1. Iona stood no chance.
Never could. Never would. That's defending home turf right there.
And they got some brutal matchups the rest of the way. So
don't bring that up.
Win. It's not the 24-hour rule. It's like a 1 month rule. So
maybe rest of the season rule.
Yeah,
maybe rest of the season. And then women's soccer sitting at 5-3-3, coming off of a 5-1 win against Georgia Southern on Sunday.
Can't play defense in any sports. especially outside of Statesboro, those Mickey Mouse program.
All right. On that note, thank you to our guest, Pat
Timlin.
Pat Timlin, for joining us to preview Georgia Southern. Anything else you got to add, Bennett?
No.
Sabrina Carpenter or Chapel Roan?
I'm a Sabrina guy. But I like Chapel as well. But
yeah, Chapel's good. I mean, Chapel's got a couple of hits. Red Wine Supernova. Whew.
Yeah, I just feel like Sabrina's like full collection. And she puts out a lot. I will say that. But
how do you know that, Bennett? How do you know that she puts out so much?
Listen to it. Listen to Sabrina all the time. She's coming on the podcast next week. We're close.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
you booked her? What are you going to call her? Instead of Sabrina Carpenter, is it going to be like Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Yes.
I was trying to think of something that sounded like Carpenter. Like
we should reach out and see if we can get her on, though. It would be nice to know what she's thinking about the quarterback situation. We'll reach out to her about this.
Hey, would Sabrina Carpenter like to come on a very niche podcast covering JMU sports, specifically football? Maybe talk a little bit about the Group of Five landscape?
It's worth an ask.
I don't see how she says no to that.
Worth an ask, yeah.
Worth an ask. So this is our plea. Sabrina Carpenter, come on the show.
Please, Sabrina.
Please. Don't prove all right. Great song. All right, for Bennett Conlin, I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. JMU takes on Georgia Southern, ESPN Plus. Our guy Delvin Joyce on the call.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very excited to tune in and listen to him with Kurt Dudley on the ESPN Plus broadcast. What time's kick?
I believe it's at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time.
1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard?
I can't remember. When is it standard and when is it not?
Is there a time when it's not standard?
Yeah, it's like goes between standard and daylight, right?
I thought it was always EST, Eastern Standard Time. I was just making a joke.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think
Well, hold on. What's this whole daylight thing? Hold on.
Well, no, it's daylight savings time.
No. Eastern Daylight Time is a North American time zone in use from the second Sunday in March to the first Sunday in November. Eastern Standard Time is the remainder of the year. So we're in Eastern Daylight Time right now.
Wait, really?
Yeah, EST would
How
be
did you know
wrong.
this?
I looked it up like last year. I had a whole thing. I get really into when the time changes. I'm like, what's this about every year? Like, why is this happening?
All right, so 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time?
I believe it's daylight time. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to double check with Delvin and make sure that he's got it right. I don't want him to miss the call or anything.
Yeah, that'd be really bad. I mean, it would make sense that it's daylight time because it is daylight outside.
That's true.
Get it?
That's well said.
You doing anything special for the game?
No, I was thinking about making some sliders or something.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
Are you deep in a rabbit hole now of researching time?
By time zones. Time zones are the most fascinating thing in the world. We might have to do a whole off-season pod on time zones.
All right, you playing that.
I will.
For Bennett, I'm Jack. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.